11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. What a fight! I think they're gonna win it.
Juan, the Hispanic causing panic, Lascano.
Using the ropes. This daddy has a smile from Sammy crashing out. Oh, counter serve.
Con el Villamero derecha en dos oportunidades. El Canelo alcanzó ese rayo con
Oh, we're live. What's going on, everybody? We're here on Calix Boxing. Let's go ahead and get this one started. Me and Calix, this is me and Calix right now. We're ready to preach the gospel of boxing. Okay, to all of you, I'm going to force it down your throats. Okay, I'm just saying. All right?
That's right.
This is Calix the other day. You know what I mean? Just telling everybody about why Usyk's number one pound for pound. And why heavyweights belong in the pound for pound list.
That's me explaining to that guy that Junto Nakatani is the future pound for pound king. And you need to understand this. You need to understand. And by the way, all we need you to do is hit the like button. That's all we need. This right here, that's called a like button. And you just hit it. And you tell your grandma, and you tell your aunt, and you tell your tia, and you tell everybody to hit that. You tell your abuela, hit that like button. That's it.
That's right. I mean, and tell your kids.
Tell your kids to do it.
You pay for their food and the roof over their heads. That should be their rent. Like, hit the like button for HCP. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Run an audit on them. Like, just ask for the phone right away. And then go to the YouTube app. Go to the HCP show and just check if it's they actually pressed it. You know what I mean? And if they didn't, you ground them. You know what I mean?
We're kid friendly here. We're kid friendly.
And by the way, after you ground them, you hit the like button for them. All right, I'm just gonna put that out there. But with that said, let's get to 100 likes, ladies and gentlemen. A lot to talk about, and HLD's chanting Junto. He's already falling for the gospel of Calix, but it is what it is. But look, we got a lot to talk about. But let's start with this. Usyk and his team have submitted a request to be exempt from being stripped. We talked to Russ Anber yesterday, and he seems okay with it. But then again, he's saying he should have at least 6 months. They're not giving him that. Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts on what Russ said yesterday about keeping the division moving? And maybe once you win undisputed, it's not ideal to keep all the belts.
This is what you and I have been having this discussion ongoing for a while, right? And for me, the discussion started with Josh Taylor when he's complaining about paying all the sanctioning fees, paying up to 11% of his total purse to sanctioning fees for all the bodies, etc. So there's that, right? The cost of it. And then you have four separate rankings. So can you realistically, in a meaningful time, in a time in boxing where guys are fighting once, maybe twice per year, go through with all these mandatories and keep these belts? It's not realistic, right? So we had to call into question how meaningful really is undisputed at this point. Should it be something guys are going for when it's not sustainable? And the conclusion I think I've come to is the one that Russ Anber was talking about last night, was it's meaningful, but it's not sustainable, right? It is meaningful. It's a great thing to have and say, I had this. And I've done it multiple times, especially when you talk about Usyk doing it 2 times, Bud doing it 2 times, multiple divisions, Inouye doing it multiple divisions. It's a meaningful thing to say, take a picture with and say, I did this. This is in the history books. I did this in the 4-belt era. I went through all the politics. I navigated all of it and got this. But it's not sustainable. It's not a sustainable thing. One, we got to keep the divisions moving. Nobody likes what's going on at 168 right now. Let's be honest about that. We need this division moving, much like 147 was in a gridlock for years. 147. We need to keep divisions moving. However, it's the hypocrisy of it. It's Errol Spence being able to keep his belt for 5 years without having to defend it a mandatory, and certain fighters seem to get exceptions and certain don't. And it's just weird right now that Usyk's not, Bud wasn't, and Canelo's not with Skull, right? It's weird who they're deciding to strip right now. But with Usyk, his case, I thought he deserved more time. We've been waiting 25 years for this. And they've already come out and said, we're looking to do this December 21st as rematch. It seems full steam ahead for rematch. So why not have an undisputed rematch? Give them that time to fight December. He's saying he's going to do it again next. I'm giving this guy his rematch. Let's do this. But I'm sure the other fighters on the other end of that are saying, no. We've been waiting our turn. It's our time. I don't know.
Yeah. So shout out to Nando Llamas, by the way. With the super chat, with a thumbs up, boxing glove, and the working hard. I think I know what he wants.
He wants.
You know what I mean? I have an idea.
He wants it. He wants it.
So we're gonna give it to him.
I'm a hard-working man.
And he is. Shout out to Nando. He'll be listening.
He's out there with the hard hat, getting it done for the family.
And Nando's like one of those. He's got like the earbud, right? And he's like always looking over his shoulder to see if his boss is watching while he listens to HCP. You know what I mean?
Nando is the boss. He's in the office just listening and watching while other people are working.
So he's neglecting his workforce
so.
while he's listening to HCP. Okay,
I think that's what's happening.
You know what I mean? And by the way, every day is this day.
Feliz,
Never read.
feliz,
Never read.
feliz,
Never read.
próspero año y felicidad.
And by the way, I think what we're going to start doing is like the Feliz Navarrete. We're only going to play that for super chats. I'm thinking of doing that. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. You know what I mean? But that's the last time. Yeah, I'll get it for free.
Yeah, that's the last time you get it for free. And by the way, the train hasn't stopped moving. The Navarrete train, it keeps going. Losses don't stop us over here.
We mean what we say. The guy's an action fighter. Win, lose, or draw, you're going to watch him, right? Now, this last fight wasn't the most exciting, but I mean, it is what it is. But it's okay. You know, everyone has. It wasn't as bad as some of the other shit we've seen. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's all right.
But let's go ahead and say this. I'm going to say this, Alex. I understand what Russ means, and he's coming from he works with fighters, so he understands like what going for a title means for a fighter. He's looking at from a business aspect of it, and some of the stuff he said was true. I think he said if you get two contenders fighting each other, it's whatever. But if you put a title on the line, all of a sudden it's a bigger deal. I'm not saying that's not true per se, but I will say this. The sport as a whole is too complicated for a casual viewer to watch, right? And if everybody becomes a world champion, then who is a world champion? We have too many world champions, okay? I think we should make in Europe, they do a very good job of making the Commonwealth belt prestigious, right? They do a good job of the European belt being a prestigious belt. Before you get to world stage, here we've kind of lost that North American title, like this prestige of it. There was a time where that was a prestigious belt, and we've lost that. Why? Because we're so oversaturated with belts, where it's so watered down. Like that's what's happening, right? This world is a lot smaller than we think. If you've seen the movie Bloodsport, and yes, I'm going somewhere with it. I know that sounds random as shit, but if you've seen the movie Bloodsport, the movie that the guy is based on, okay, whatever his name is, if somebody could put it in the chat, I don't remember the guy's name, but he was saying this bullshit story that I fought, like, I think he said he fought 14 men, in an elimination tournament in order to win the title in a secret tournament in Thailand. But when you do the math, if it's that many people, we're talking about it reaches like the hundreds of thousands, millions of people. Yeah, Frank Ducks, right? It reaches an extraordinary amount of people. I don't think people understand, right, how many people that is. Like, it's these guys can be fighting each other and working their way up the rank. They used to do it all the time. It used to be prestigious to be in a top 10 of a division. It used to be prestigious to become the number one contender. Okay, but you have to work your way up to that. And then you got your title shot, right? We've lost that. We have fighters coming off losses, fighting for some of these trinkets. We have fighters that hold on to these trinkets for months or years without being active. What good does it do us if they're not active? Well, what good does it do? I think that hurts the sport more than Canelo holding all the belts.
Yeah.
Right? I just think it does.
It's like how is Errol able to go 5 years without facing his mandatory, and then on top of that, he gets beat pillar to post, sits out a while. He's still a top 10 pound for pound guy, and then he moves up a weight class and goes first in line for a title fight. How does that happen? How in the world? That's way worse than what we're seeing. What people are complaining about with Canelo. That's for sure.
Kelly,
But you're telling me you don't want to, you don't think William Skull is a worthy title holder if he wins? Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, I just don't understand. Like, the problem isn't I just think the sanction, like the top 10, there should be a somewhat consensus. We keep hearing about all these sanctioning bodies. They all need to recognize each other in order to be legitimate. Blah, blah, blah. Well, I think that should include the rankings, quite frankly. There should be an understanding. Like, I believe all 4 sanctioning bodies should agree that a dude is a top 10 fighter. How about that? I believe at least 3 of the 4, how about that, of the sanctioning bodies should determine that a guy is the mandatory.
That's what I would like. If they work together to come up with collaboration rankings at the top when a guy becomes undisputed, right? And say, these are the 3 guys we all agree should be top 3. We've come together and done this, and then it becomes a sustainable thing, right? But 100%. I guess the argument could be against that could be it would still lead to gridlock, but the other guys won't have shots at titles. Look, I don't know, but the politics, D-Style, you and Beeb, your argument from last year, I believe it was, year and a half ago, however long it was, is making more sense to me now, in that is undisputed, even undisputed if we trace it back. And could you make an argument, I believe HLD made this argument too, that Tiafimo was undisputed without all 4 of the belts?
What I'll say is this. I do agree with that. But here's what I'll say. Muhammad Ali was the undisputed champion, right? And then, I don't want to get to the politics of it, but just people feel differently about it. I get it. But Ali didn't go to war. He didn't go to Vietnam. So he got stripped of the belt, right?
Right.
Even Ali, even when he came back, he didn't like people think he just went straight to Frazier.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what happened, bro. He fought Jerry Quarry first, right? He fought twice the year before he fought Frazier, right? And even when he lost to Frazier, guess what, Muhammad Ali? You were in the front of the line. Now Muhammad Ali went back to the back of the line, okay? Where he had to fight multiple fights. He went through a run fighting for the North American Boxing Championship, all right? Even rematching Floyd Patterson, who also was working his way back up, right? And it was a while, okay, before he got back in there and fought for the belt again. He didn't just jump in and fight for the belt again. Mm-hmm. He didn't fight Foreman like until 4 years. It took him 3.5 years to earn another title shot to fight the heavyweight champion George Foreman. Like that, I don't think people understand this, that we could do this if it's done properly. But I just think, okay, y'all work together, but why aren't you working together on who the mandatory is? You could tell us who's undisputed. You could tell us who's recognized as a champion, all this other stuff. But number one contenders and mandatories are part of the process too. Well, why don't you have to agree on that? It just seems very convenient to me, right? And then you get guys like the reality is this, bro. Who has Skull fought? All bullshit aside. I'm not talking about the IBF rankings. Who's he beat to like, okay, that's the dude that Canelo needs to fight? If this was run like a real sport, that dude would have to fight like a Cato Plant or somebody to know if he's even ready for Canelo.
You know how many fights Ali had between the first Frazier fight and the second Frazier fight? You know how many? 13. 13.
Damn.
Yeah. Between 71 and 70 and 74. 13 fights. Good Lord.
That's quite
and
a
then
while.
another handful before he fought him again a third time. So
I mean, like to me, it's like I just hope people understand. Like when Ali lost to Frazier, he had to work his way back up, and that makes sense, right? We don't have that. That's not Canelo's fault that system doesn't exist. Because like here's where, and I'll end that with this. My final thought on that, because we could do a whole show on it, but I just want to give one more thought on it. Chicano, stop, right? but I'll say this.
Stop the cap.
Oh, Canelo's holding. He's holding the division hostage. Is he?
Or are the sanctioning bodies?
No, but what was his division doing before Canelo showed up?
Nothing.
What was Benavidez? Was Benavidez like? I didn't see him in a rush to like I just want to fight the bad. I just want to. Okay, why would you like? Why did you tell Samson to make that damn fight happen? We plan. Well, why do we have to marinate it for fucking 5 years?
And then everybody says Abney Yildirim. That was Benavidez's mandatory before he lost the belt. I mean,
and here's the other thing. Well, you fought Yildirim. Like here's the thing, guys. He didn't fight. He did not fight Yildirim because he was a mandatory. Okay, he fought Yildirim because it was a tune-up. It was a convenient fight before the Billy Joe Saunders fight, which he was going to do 2 months later.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is, guys. I mean, I'm just saying.
But the division was a mess. It was doing nothing.
And can people stop saying that Mauricio Suleiman needs to enforce stuff? Like, look, Mauricio ain't gonna make Canelo do anything, bro. That dude wears Canelo caps while he does lives and shit. Like, you think he's gonna force to do anything? Like, I'm just saying, bro. Like, let's just call a spade, right? Mauricio doesn't want the same thing to happen. You know, when he was trying to force that Triple G fight, and Canelo, I think, was more like, I'm gonna fight him when I want to fight him, not when you tell me. So he ended up fighting him anyway, right? So the whole thing was pointless in my opinion, but okay, whatever. But I don't know. You think he drops the belt? You think the IBF will drop it?
Oh yeah, it's done. It's done.
Okay.
So he'll just be fighting for 3 belts.
Is he still undisputed in your mind?
That's the question, right? Does the politics of it take away undisputed? That's the hard part, because
you're going Shakespearean on us, like to be or not to be. That is
but it's a serious question though, because if you trace this stuff back, how many fighters are actually undisputed?
Is Canelo being the man of the division in dispute?
No,
I don't think it is.
Well, I mean, if you throw Benavidez into the mix, that makes it disputable to some people.
Benavidez is more of a dispute to Canelo than some of the dude holding the trinket.
Yes.
Even if William Skull has the belt, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm just saying. I'm not saying
that's what calls all this into question is are the 4 sanctioning bodies behaving in a way that that give them the claim, that make them the gatekeepers as to what undisputed is. That would be my argument. And I would say no, they're not. So that calls into question who is undisputed and who isn't. Do you need all four of the belts to be
Could you
undisputed?
imagine if Ali was like, why do I have to fight Quarry for? I mean, why would I risk it all? Why would I do something dumb like that? And when if there was 4 belts back then, if there was 4 of them, like Ali would just pick one of them up. Like, you wouldn't even have to do all that. Maybe that Quarry fight is for the IBF. I don't know, right? You know what I mean? So it just is what it is. What are you going to do? Speaking of the IBF, they're on a roll, right? Usyk has, obviously Canelo, he's going to drop it. Usyk, he's going to. Do you think they're going to strip Usyk?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So they're going to strip him. Why not just do it now and let Dubois and Herkovich might as well just do it for the belt?
And I think you'll have 2 undisputed champions, and Canelo and Usyk. I think that's what you're gonna have.
Yeah.
I would rather them be rigid all the time, but it's the hypocrisy, it's the unevenness, inconsistency that makes this all too confusing. And the IBF for Canelo, it makes a little more sense, but I don't understand. You wait 25 years for undisputed, and you're telling these other fighters, look, the fans have been waiting for this fight for years. We got to do this. And I think after that, you got to give them enough time to do that rematch. And then after that, it's fine.
So the rematch is still December. Like, the news came out this morning.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean,
it may not matter to, if you ask Usyk and Fury, it might not matter to them if the IBF is on the line. They might not care. I don't know.
It's still like, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. It's still for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's not at the same time. It's weird. It's so weird. And I don't know if I agree with. But
to me, it's kind of like you die and like, well, there's no birth certificate yet, so it's not officially dead. Like, I mean,
it's just.
But I
don't know if it's good for boxing. These examples, because it's just. I've said it for years. I've said this since back in 2010. Even after great fights comes confusion. And that's the problem when you're pitching this to casual fans is, yes, we can talk about all the great fights that are happening, all the great cards. And by the way, this event, the first event, Usyk Fury, allegedly only did 43,000 pay-per-view buys. So that's not good. And I have no idea how this dude just continues to bleed money this way, because there's no way they're making money off of this. But, and they're going to do it again.
Well, we don't know what it did in the UK though.
I don't know. It just 43,000 seems pretty bad. But
it is.
I don't know if it's a good argument to say this is good for the sport when after a great undisputed fight or a really good undisputed fight, now we have to explain why it's not for undisputed in a rematch, in the immediate rematch. I don't know how more confusion. I
think what's happening, Calix, and just to critique Canelo here, quite frankly, Canelo has allowed the narrative of, because he's saying it, I can fight whoever I want. I'm gonna fight whoever I deserve to fight whoever I want, motherfuckers. Like, he's allowing that narrative to, like, sometimes
I know what you mean, and then perception takes over.
The perception takes over when I look at what guys do, not what they say. Mm-hmm. Right now, I know people are going to convene and say, "Oh, Canelo not fighting anybody," yet he has the best resume in the sport, right? Outside of Usyk, actually, but outside of Usyk, I think Usyk's overtaking that. By the way, a resume
overtaking who?
Canelo, resume wise, but maybe not an entire career, but at least the last 5 years or so, for sure.
Oh yeah.
But here's the thing: he's fighting good fighters. Like, Ryder earned that shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but when he makes it sound like, oh, he's just handpicking these dudes, like that's how he's making it sound. I fought Ryder because I wanted to fight Ryder. I could fight whoever I want, motherfucker. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I fought Munguia because I want to, motherfucker.
Yeah, but the
like,
reason he has to say that is there's somebody out there. So this was our criticism. This was our criticism of Mayweather for years, right? And it's been our criticism of Tank and Leonard Ellerbe when they say this stuff. When Leonard Ellerbe says Josh Taylor brings nothing to the table when Josh Taylor has all the belts. You immediately ask, what does Mario Barrios bring to the table? Because he doesn't have a bigger fan base. He doesn't have a bigger fan base, and he had a fake belt. So why'd you fight him? And he has nothing. And that's the same question we would ask to Canelo is, yeah, Benavidez doesn't bring anything to the table. Then what does Ryder and Munguia bring to the table that he doesn't? That's the issue.
I think it's a couple of things. And I've heard Canelo speak in Spanish and I've heard him speak in English. He definitely articulates himself. There's no shocker to anybody. He articulates himself better in English, not in Spanish. Okay. He just does. Right. When he says like the way it comes off, like when he says, look, people say that I wouldn't fight Golovkin. They say I wouldn't fight these guys, and then they say this guy, and I'm gonna do what I want because you guys are gonna say anyway that you're not gonna give me the credit. Like the way that I'm gonna be honest, the way that comes off is like I don't want to fight that guy, and if I don't want to fight him, I'm not gonna fight him, and that's it. Like that's how it comes off, right? But like if you listen to his interviews in Spanish, it more so sounds like you guys always say I'm not going to do these fights, and then I end up doing them. Yeah, that's what you said about Golovkin. That's what you said about this guy. I got this. Like, you know what I mean? Like that, but it doesn't come out that way in English, Alex. And then the 200 million thing, I know where he's going with it.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's twofold. I think Fernando Vargas put it the best. Somebody asked him what he thought about it. He said, look, Canelo's fought everybody. I don't think he's scared of Benavidez, but if he makes people believe he's scared of Benavidez, right, that more people are going to want to see that fight. And I agree with that. I think building up the perception, right? And then he said, like, he's going to fight him one day. There's no doubt in my mind he's going to fight Benavidez at all. Unless something dramatic, like if Benavidez loses to Vajdic or something crazy happens.
Or if Canelo loses the bud.
Yeah, or something. Like unless something disrupts it, the fight's going to happen. Now, that's a danger of marinating things.
Yeah.
Right? And in this era, if you lose, it disrupts things. Like, it is what it is, right? But we'll see. I mean, what are you going to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll have plenty of time to talk about that.
Yeah, that's 100%. Fury has activated the rematch clause, Alex.
Yep.
What are your thoughts?
When I saw Fury's team come out and say that, I was more confident, and that's why I asked Russ that last night towards the end of the show. Are you confident in a rematch? And he said, yeah. And the only question marks I had was, one, Fury can be Fury. So will he step up to the plate? Usyk's a man of his word. All he needs is a handshake. He's good. So I didn't have any issues with that side. I thought it would be come from the Fury side, but Fury side says we're on. The other issue the only other problem I thought would arise is when you hear 43,000 pay-per-view buys for the type of money they're throwing out, you wonder if they're going to go right back to that the next one. But it just seems like they're going to keep throwing money out there. So keep an eye on that. December 21st. I do believe these guys are going to be back in the ring before the end of the year with each other. I do believe that Usyk is going to win more convincingly in the second one. And also we're hearing September at Wembley Arena and possibly Inouye fighting on that undercard for AJ. So what a big event that would be too.
Yeah, it's just going to be, and I just want to say this, in my opinion, this has been a great year so far.
Yeah.
And I think it's been a blessing that PBC's had issues and they're only going to have their second event this year. So,
yeah,
because everyone else has stepped up and are doing better, are giving us better fights. It's just the way it is. So
less gridlock. Less gridlock.
I mean,
And you're
look at
having
that card in Los Angeles. That's a bunch of PBC fighters looking for a date, bro.
yeah, and you're gonna have a bunch of fighters with FOMO is what you're gonna have too. You got a bunch of guys like I mean, you had Hackett signed with Matchroom. Ingram's trying to get loose from Mayweather Promotions to go over to Matchroom and keep an eye on Carmel Mouton as well. You having these younger fighters trying to get loose so they can get active. I think you have a bunch of fighters who have FOMO right now, who are stuck. I think besides
Yeah,
Tank, Tank's the only one that seems happy over there.
of
But
course.
other than that, you got guys trying to get free and get some of this Saudi money.
And,
And
and
that's good to
Leonard
see.
Allerby, by the way, is telling them, is like, well, it's out of my control. Like, you're the CEO of the fucking Mayweather Promotions, bro. Now, granted, I know that's just a puppet title. You don't really do shit. Like, it is what it is, right? But whatever. You know what I mean?
And
But my
with
God.
PBC diminishing, with PBC falling apart, and it's only a matter of time before it goes under. You're starting to see that laundromat of Mayweather Promotions. I just call it a laundromat. It's not a real promotional company. Washing money. You're starting to see the effects of that. With PBC gone, Mayweather Promotions will also be gone over
All
time.
right.
Over time. It's going to take some time, but it'll get there. And that's
All
going to be a
right.
good thing for the sport. I don't want to hear from the dudes, by the way. They're going to
I
come
gotta
after
hit up
it.
one of those TMT laundromats. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. You do. And we get it on a clearance rack, but we'll get some gear on the clearance rack, but I
that's
don't want to
right.
hear from the dudes, and I already know these style are going to come after us again. You're cheering for an outfit to go out. Yes, I am. I just put myself in this. I am. I think it's good for the
First of
sport that
all,
they go away.
why do motherfuckers out there give a fuck, bro? Well, what you think or I think or anybody else? Like what? Why are they over here policing, bro? Why are they being the
The
chota out
police.
here, bro?
The
Beep,
police.
beep. Pull over. Like, hey, I heard you were anti-PBC. Pull the window down. Pull one down, you go to jail. Like, I'm just like, what's going on over here, bro? Dude's over here
Why are
being
you
a
cheering for
chota and
paper?
shit, bro.
Why are you cheering for pay-per-view numbers to be bad? And by the way, that's the only negative of this year is you still have to pay. Somebody did the math on this. I think it was 300 and close to $375 you're paying for pay-per-views in the second quarter alone in boxing.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
that's not good.
they want us to foot the bill, right? And a lot of us are. We're the only ones buying it. Like casuals are not buying these events, guys. Okay,
Mhm.
like it is what it is. So, I you know what it is, Cal? There's just not a lot of diehard boxing fans.
No.
That's what it is. Like people are like, oh, why the diehards buying the pay per views? Because there's not a lot of us.
No.
There just isn't. All right. But people want to get preachy, bro. Like, watch your own pockets, bro. Worry about what you buy, what you do, and that's it. Like, we got dudes out here like
They
asking for
pocket watching. What is
they're
this? They're
pocket
watching.
watching. They're asking for receipts. Have you bought the pay per view? Like, what? Don't you got anything better to do? Go watch your own pockets, bro. What
They
y'all
got
doing?
dudes. They got dudes out there now.
Now, don't get me wrong.
posting-
I'm not condoning
posting
the Fire
pictures.
Stick Boys either. By the way, I'm not condoning them
No,
either.
but they got dudes out there on Twitter or X, and they're posting pictures of proof that they ordered the pay per view. That's what
Well, what
they
are
got
y'all
dudes
doing?
out here
Showing your
doing now.
is that your freedom papers? They go, what is like y'all like what? Oh, look, I'm a real boxing fan. Look, I bought the event. Like what are you doing? Like if you bought it, you know you bought it, bro. You know what? I feel it's like Miyagi. Remember when Daniel's son was a little young rud and he wanted to impress everybody. He's like, I want a belt. You know what I mean? And then and he's like, why do you want a belt for? So I could show everybody I'm good. And Miyagi said, Daniel's son, you know you're good. You know what I mean? We could all learn something from Miyagi, bro. You know what I mean?
That's good advice.
Yeah, you know you good. You know you buy pay-per-view. Why
Rest in
you
peace.
fucking watching other motherfuckers? All right? Like that's Miyagi for you.
Rest in
Right?
peace to
He
him.
would cuss. He would cuss when he was off camera. Right? I'm just gonna put that
Oh
out.
yeah. Oh, there's no
Right?
doubt.
And he whooped Cobra Kai's ass. Everybody wants to be Cobra Kai because Cobra Kai's cool. Like, you know what I mean?
It's not cool. It's not. I'm
But
just
it's
saying
not
it right
cool.
now.
Miyagi
not
whooped
cool.
their ass, bro. You know what I mean? And shout out
not
to my
cool.
biggest fan. He's in the chat right now. He's my biggest. He goes everywhere I go. Everywhere I go, he goes. He's my groupie. Shout out to him. You know what I mean? My groupie's in the chat. He's gonna reveal himself right now. By the way, he's gonna tell everybody who that he's my groupie without telling you he's my groupie in a little bit. But with that said, let's talk about this 5-on-5. All right, 5-5 Matchroom versus Queensberry. Remember when we would throw ideas like this out? People are like, you don't know the business of boxing. You don't do that. That wouldn't work. That makes no business. Like, whatever. Now we're getting it.
You can't do America versus Mexico. You can't do Mexico versus Great Britain. You can't do it. Now they're doing it.
That's right. And the thing is this. So 5-on-5. So let's go over them, okay? Let's start off with the really good one, all right? Let's start with a heavyweight matchup, Filip Hrgović versus Daniel Dubois. This on paper, or at least according to the odds makers, Calix, it's like close, it's tight, like, you know what I mean? But I'm feeling very, like, and I want to be wrong. I just want to put that out there. I hope I'm wrong. I think Filip Hrgović wins. I think wins by late stoppage. But
late stoppage,
I'm hoping.
really?
I'm hoping. Yes. Or do you think he's going to stop him earlier? Or I think a decision.
I think it's a decision fight.
I don't know about that, man. We'll see. But I hope you're right. I hope Dubois can take it a distance. I hope Dubois can pull it off. I don't know what it is about Dubois. I don't dislike Dubois. I like Dubois. You know what I mean? I like saying Dubois. Like, you know what I mean? He's like such a nice guy. You just want to root for him. You know what I mean? Even though I don't think he has a shot in this fight. But I hope I'm wrong. Do you think he has a shot? And who do you think wins?
By the way, first of all, man, it's $10 super chat. Am I the only one here who is loving the promotion and proposed team format of the 5 versus 5? No, you are not. Easier for casuals to follow the sport this way. You are correct. And by the way, give it to him. Give it to him right now. You know what to do. Give it to him, D-Style.
All right. Okay,
give it to him.
We'll do it right now. We'll give him this one.
Feliz
Navarrete.
Feliz
Navarrete.
Feliz
Navarrete.
Prospero año y felicidad.
Feliz Navarrete to Mantis. Only that was only for Mantis. All y'all, no Feliz Navarrete for y'all. Feliz Navarrete.
That was only
Mantis.
for him. That was only for him.
Because he is
I'm a hard-working man.
He's a hard-working man.
So Hrgović, or as you call him, I think you call him Hurt-a-Bitch.
Always gonna hurt the bitch. You know what I mean?
Minus 245 favorite. Okay. Will the fight go the distance? It is favored to not go the distance. So you could be correct here. No, minus 260. Yes, plus 196 to go the distance. So they're thinking that this fight is not going to go the distance, and they seem to be saying that Hurt-a-Bitch, as you would say, is going to win this fight by KO. So Hrgović is negative territory, minus 115 to get the KO here. So you think Dubois is going to win? Because I got Hrgović, and I think it's going to go decision, though. I think Hrgović, this is the thing about both guys. What we know about Hrgović and what we found out in the Zang fight is the guy has a chin. Hrgović has a hell of a chin. And that was a debatable fight. So I think he'll be able to handle Dubois' power. There's questions about Dubois' heart. There are definitely questions about, but both guys seem to, we've had these criticism about Bivol as well, right? They put it in coast. And I don't know if I've ever seen Bivol go to like a fifth gear. Maybe in the Canelo fight, he took himself to fifth gear. And that's how I feel about Hrgović and Dubois. It just seems like they get in third gear and coast. They don't have, when they have a guy hurt, maybe they don't go after it. So that's why I kind of think it's going to be Hrgovic's decision here. But I do like Hrgović to get one on Matchroom side in this fight.
Yeah. Do you have like a special place in your heart for Dubois? Like, are you hoping he wins, or are you like
not at all? No.
What? Like he didn't inspire you after what he did to Miller?
No.
You know what I mean? Like remember how he put that beating
That's
on
true.
that?
I forgot. I
bully?
forgot how he did that in the 12th round. Because you know what? Dubois, I got to give him credit because I actually bet Dubois by stoppage in that fight, or I bet the fight not to go the distance.
Yeah.
So yeah, he did step on it late in that fight. I forgot about that. You're right. You're
Like
right.
that is as last second as I ever seen that. That was crazy.
I was
But
not expecting that.
he put a beating on Miller, which was one of the most satisfying beatdowns so far for me this year. But
He
man,
arguably hurt Usyk legally. Arguably, you can argue that. So he's a talented guy. I just think Hrgović is a little underrated because
that's one of those shots, by the way. Like if you're in fans aside, if you're in Usyk's team, it was an illegal shot. If you're in Dubois' team, Frank Warren, you believe it was illegal.
right.
It is what it is. So I just want to put that out there. You know, why don't you tell him? Well, why don't you tell Russ Anber? Like, I'm not going to convince Ronam like that was a legal shot, bro. It's obvious.
And I thought it was low.
And it's gray enough, right?
Yeah.
You know, just to where like, what are we going to do? We'll go back and forth, and we're going to end up in the same spot. It is what it is. Like Dubois hurt a bitch, says. Man, look, let me tell you something. Hrgovic's a beast, bro. And if you watch that Zang fight, man, can he take a punch? So I don't know if Dubois can hurt him. I just don't know. We're going to find out.
I don't think
it's going to be some. It's going to be some. I'll tell you that. Okay. Craig Richard versus Willie Hutchinson. This is
that's the one that's kind of flying under the radar.
It's flying under the radar, and I think it's a good scrap. I got Richards in that fight, though.
I do too. He's minus 148, and you have the least amount of props on this fight, which points to, I think this is the one.
I am surprised the odds are that close.
Yeah, I think this is the one that people care the least about on the card, and the betting odds reflect that. But I think Richards deserves to be about 2-1 favorite, maybe 3-1, and I like Richards to win the fight. I'm looking at it right now.
Do you agree? I know like Bays and Beeb on the roundtable were basically saying this is like going to be a one-sided fight in favor of Richards. Are you that confident? Are you like?
I'm not that confident. No.
So you think? Do you think this is a potential banana skin?
Yeah. Well, look at what happened last weekend, and that's what seems to be the theme with these
banana peel, whatever.
Yeah. The Saudi cards, there seems to be a lot of upsets, guys in plus territory winning fights, surprises. So there's another one that could go the other way. Could go to Hutchinson. So far I like the favorites on this card.
That's right. All right. Shout out to Mantis. I am purchasing the 5 versus 5, sending you guys a receipt. Like, you don't gotta, we believe you, brother. You know why?
I'm a hard-working man. I wear a steel.
That's right.
I believe him.
Hard-working man.
And by the way, if he's a DAZN subscription holder, he gets $1 off. Did you see that? If you don't own DAZN as a subscription, you pay $69.98, I think, and then if you do, you get it for $1 off at $68.98.
Are you serious?
That's serious.
You get $1 off. Like, what are we doing here? That's like
you get $1 off.
What are we doing?
It's so stupid.
You know what? That reminds me of, like, I remember one time in the paper I saw, like, purchase it. If you purchase a house with us, it comes with a free 3-liter Coke. Like, okay. Wow, we got to do it. You know what I mean? We got to do this one. You don't get a free 3-liter Coke.
Yeah, we got to do it now.
I mean, bro. Oh, man. Anyway, So
far, I got Matchroom 2-0. And who is the Queensberry? Because remember, if
we're gonna get there, yeah.
If who's the Queensberry captain?
That's the one we're gonna go over right now.
Okay. Right.
So Emma Williams, representing Matchroom, will be facing Sheraz, he is the Queensberry
Good move.
captain, which
Good
gets
move.
double points. That's 2 points if he wins a decision. That's 4 points if he wins by knockout.
Wow. I like that rule. I like
Yeah,
that
so
rule.
it's 1 point to win, like decision, 2 points if you win by stoppage.
Wow.
You know what it reminds me of, Calix? This shit reminds me of fantasy boxing. Remember that
It
we had
does.
the fights that were double, and then we had like the 1 point, and but if you called the knock, the prop right, you get the extra point. I'm just gonna put that out. You know what I mean?
That's yeah. Hat trick if you get it in the right
Yeah.
round. I think this is a genius move because I like Sheraz by knockout. This is a gifted fighter, wingspan, and he is a guy who does have some deficiencies. He gets a little too offensive minded at times. The thing that's interesting about this fight, and I'm looking at my bets right now that I placed so far, and one of the parlays I have, I bet that this fight won't go the distance, and it's minus 136. And the reason I believe that is Shiraz goes for it. He'll put his foot on the gas. He's a power puncher. He will get guys out of there. I think 21-0, 19 knockouts, something like that. And neither one of these guys have been in a 12-round fight yet, D-Style. Neither one of these guys have gone deep, and this is a 12-round fight. Unless I'm missing something, I saw this as a 12-round fight. Unless they change it to 10 round, this is a 12-rounder. So I don't think this fight's going to distance. I think Shiraz is the more gifted fighter, and I think he's getting Ammo Williams out of there at some point in his fight. I don't know when, but at some point in his fight, I think he's going to catch him with something big. But even if he doesn't, I think he'll go in so offensive minded that maybe he'll get caught with something. But I like Shiraz to win this fight, and I think that's going to be a 4-point win for Queensberry, which will be big. I think that's a smart move by Queensberry.
Oh wow. Okay. Man. So Queensberry, I think I have it the same as you right now, by the way. I do think Sheraz is gonna score a knockout. However, there is a lot of people, Calix, picking Emma Williams to win. I think he's the biggest underdog, right? For this whole thing, I believe. But some people feel he's got the kind of natural athletic ability and power that he's more fluid than Sheraz, they say. So they believe that's going to happen when
he is the biggest underdog. You're right.
I will say this though, and I don't know, like just because the guy's American and or whatever, like it doesn't mean that he's this boxing wizard, right? Like and I think sometimes that American flag next to a fighter, it's just my opinion, overrates them a little bit.
Yeah.
I just honestly feel that way. I think I overrated Fulton going into that Inoue fight. I mean, that was a very one-sided beatdown. That was a one-sided fight.
I did too.
Right? So we're gonna see, but I'm not saying Emma Williams is a good fighter, right? But I guess I gotta see it. I gotta see it pull this one off.
He's very green. He's very green.
Now look, we've seen green fighters do it before, right? We've seen him pull it off. Jermaine Taylor beat Bernard Hopkins, right? We've seen stuff happen. Lomachenko in a third fight became world champion, whatever, you know what I mean? But Ammo no Lomachenko. But all I'm saying is we're gonna see, but I got Sheraz winning by knockout. Okay.
Me too.
That's what I got. Here's the fight. I think this is the one I'm from a kind of like looking forward to the action type of fight. It's the one I'm looking forward to the most. It's Ray Ford versus Nick Ball. This is the only fight, by the way, that's for a world title. It's for the WBA World Featherweight title. Ray Ford, Nick Ball. Ray Ford did say he's only going to come back down for the right fight. I guess this is the right fight. Maybe it's some money or whatever, but I don't know how much you put into the possibility he's struggling to make weight. But he's going to be fighting a very game Nick Ball. Calix, I got Ray Ford winning this fight. I think he'll struggle to make weight, but I still think he's used to making it. I still think he'll win. I just think Ray Ford is a more versatile fighter. He could actually we've seen in the last fight, he could put pressure, he could put the mitts up and come forward and bang it with you. But we also know he has the ability to box, right? I just think he's a more versatile fighter, and I think he'll apply somewhat of a hybrid mix of pressure and boxing on the outside in this fight. And I also think he has the advantage at mid-range against Nick Ball. I got Ray Ford winning this fight, but it's a close contest.
This is the one I've struggled with the most out of all five. Nick Ball, it's obvious. I saw your back and forth with your reply to Boxing Beats and Rhymes earlier on Twitter, and he said what I think both of us agree with, that Ray Ford is a level above Nick Ball. But your response was the same response I have, and why I'm struggling with this is Ray Ford at 126. He's drained, and he looks drained, and the rumors are he's very drained. So how is he going to look at 126? I think the reason he's still there is you're going to have guys at 126 trying to stay at 126 as long as possible to position themselves for when Inoue does eventually move up. And the more belts they have, or if they have a belt, then we know what Inoue values, right? It's belts. So you want to stay a belt holder at 126 for the time being, because he's going to want to move up to 126 and try to become undisputed in another weight class. So I just wonder if he's staying there too long. And Nick Ball, we can make the same we can make a comparison to Kambosos, although different styles. They're both limited fighters, but they both have a motor. And if you're not on your game that night, Teofimo obviously has something wrong with him that night he fought Kambosos. So if Ray Ford comes in drained and he's not himself, Nick Ball is the type of guy who's going to take advantage of that. But this isn't the same stylistic. I don't think that there's a stylistic problem here for Ray Ford against Nick Ball. I think he'll be able to deal with it. I think it's better matchup for him stylistically than it was for Ray Vargas. Ray Vargas, a tall fighter. It's just a pain in the ass when you're dealing with a guy 6 inches shorter, 8 inches shorter, who is constantly on you, and you can't keep him off of you with the jab. It's a stylistic nightmare. So I think Ray Ford, if he's himself, will win this fight, but I don't know if he'll be himself. It's a tough call. It really is for me, but I think Ray Ford, I have to agree with you. Ultimately, I think it's a smart pick. It's a safer pick to pick Ray Ford here by decision against Nick Ball, who I think is a good fighter, but he is limited, but he has a motor. Yeah.
It's gonna be an interesting fight. I just think that the last fight Ray Ford had was the more difficult fight, and he pulled a rabbit out of his hat in the last round, but he did it.
Yeah.
I just think Nick Ball, again, I think he's a good fighter. He should be a world champion right now. This should be a unification, quite frankly. But
he's that type of guy like Kambosos, right? Is he'll likely win a title at some point. He's just not going to be a guy to keep that title.
Yeah. He's just like, you know what? He's just like a wannabe. He's just a wannabe, Isaac Cruz. You know what I mean? That's all he is, quite frankly.
I like that. A little shot at Usyk. I like it. No,
but he's like a wannabe. You know what I mean? It is what it is. There's only one authentic. All right.
I think he's a more talented, lighter skinned Usyk Cruz. I think that's what he is.
I don't know about that one. Man. But hey, it is what it is. Hey, look. Are we? Oh no, we're not. Okay. I thought we were missing a super chat. So let's get to it. Let's get to the one. I think it's gonna be the shortest fight of the night. Deontay Wilder versus Zhang. Whoever wins, I think it's gonna be a short night. I'll be surprised, Calix. What's the over-under in this fight? I'll be surprised if this fight goes over 6 rounds. I'll be surprised.
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to give you the
I'll
prop.
be shocked, bro.
So right now we got Zhang minus 166 favorite, Deontay Wilder plus 136 underdog. Method of victory, you can get Zhang plus 100, which is what I bet. full transparency, I bet Zang to win by knockout at plus 100. You could also get Deontay Wilder by knockout at plus 185 if you think he's going to be the one to get the upset.
Oh, the odd makers don't see much of a difference with the wins.
Over under right here. Over under 6.5 rounds at even odds. 6.5. Cut in the middle. So
the odd makers are right there. Yeah.
You think it's going under, right?
They're very smart putting 6.5. That's
I know.
Like, I was hoping it was 8 or 9, or you know what I mean. But man, that's a tough one.
It is.
I never like the odds on over unders, to be honest with you. I'm never like. What are the odds for over and under?
Over under, you got the over at minus 126, under at minus 102.
I think the over under is a ripoff, bro. I've always felt that way. Unless it's like obviously not going to happen. You know what I mean? I'd rather just like bet if it's going a distance, if it's going to end by knockout, because then I get all the rounds. I'd rather. That's just me. How do you feel this sidebar? How do you feel about over under bets? Do you really bet them?
Not that much. I like what I like to do is just bet is the fight going the distance.
Yeah.
I like to do that one. I have a couple of those in my parlay. But another prop bet you have is total knockdowns of 1.5. Over 1.5 knockdowns is minus 105. So
see that half is so annoying, bro.
If you think there's going to be 2 knockdowns in this fight, you got it at minus 105. So if you don't want to pick a winner,
one knockdown for sure. There's no doubt in my mind. However, that might be the knockout.
It might be the knockout. With these 2 guys, that might be the knockout.
Look, there's only 2 ways I see this fight, Alex. I'm gonna just put it this way: either Wilder catching clean with a straight right very early in the fight and establishes dominance and hurts Zang, and then it just knocks him out. But look, that window's going to be closing. It's going to be closing as soon as the bell rings. That window's closing, and if Wilder didn't do something in the first 3 rounds, bro, I just think it's over. I think Zang is going to beat him up.
Even with Zang, the
yes,
criticism that people have levy of Zang is he wears down.
He wears down, but here's the problem. He's fighting a guy that he's not an Usyk. He doesn't keep you going. Like, what did Usyk do to Fury? He kept him. He's like, you're going to fight. Kind of how Malignaggi described Cotto, like, you were fighting every second of that round. Like, even when punches were being thrown, like, he's right there. You don't get a moment to just, whoo. With Wilder, you get moments to, whoa. Like I saw it in the Parker fight, even Fury. If Fury wanted to just sit back, get on his back foot for a little bit, even it was just 5-6 seconds against Wilder, he could do it. Like there was no issue with it. He could control that. I just don't think Wilder's the guy to implement a game plan to tire out Zang. I just don't. I know some have said, and I know on the roundtable, I think it was 408, had mentioned, look, if or Shadow Ghost, one or the other, shout out to them, both of them, but maybe Wilder could catch him late. Like we see Wilder, by the way, we did see Wilder in round 10 of that third fight. He did clip Fury with a really good right hand, right? But Fury was able to eat it, and then he went on to dominate the rest of the round. But if Zang is more tired than Fury was, maybe that right hand does more damage. Maybe. But I'm going to tell you right now, Alex, I just think it has to be early because I don't think it's going to go past the 6. So if he doesn't knock him out, or better yet, Alex, if he lands a right and Zang just eats it, it's over. Like
he ain't those Joe Joyce. He ain't those Joe Joyce shots.
I don't.
It's a different punch. I know.
It's boxing is it's an experiment. Remember those projects you did at school? You did an experiment, see what happens. Mm-hmm. I have a hypothesis. My hypothesis is, I think if that right hand lands flush, he could really hurt Zang or knock him out. I believe that.
It's a snappier.
I believe if he lands flush, it's a wrap. That's what I believe, right? But it's just a hypothesis. We're going to do the experiment.
This
right?
is
It's going to land, Alex. The right hand will land. The question is, I'm just giving you scenarios. If Zhang eats it, it's over. If Zhang does get hurt, but he's able to get up and kind of recover the way Fury recovered, it's over. Like, you know what I mean? If Wilder's not able to land it, it's over. So now it sounds like I'm giving you every reason why Zhang is likely going to win this fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I 100% admit to you that this is just intuition, right? I think Wilder's going to knock him out first or second round.
Wow.
I just think it's going to land. I think the Bronze Bomber will have a big win. I am not basing that off of anything else, admittedly, than intuition. And the only thing, but there is a little bit of logic. Zhang is right there in the center line, and you just can't fight Wilder that way. Zhang doesn't have the head movement of a Fury. He's not as fluid as Fury or Parker, quite frankly. So I'm just saying it's going to land, right? What happens, I don't know. I just don't know. I'm just betting that it's going to hurt Zhang. That's all I'm saying.
So your argument would be 14-month layoff, fighting a better boxer in Joseph Parker is going to be harder for him to find that big shot that he's going to be able to find sharper coming off a 6-month layoff against a bigger target in Zhang Zhang. So this is actually a more favorable matchup for him.
So it's more favorable in terms of hitting his opponent.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of
being hit.
Look, if Zhang beats him up, he's going to take a worse beating from Zhang than he did Parker. Like, it's going to be uglier, right? But even though Zhang can do more damage to Wilder, I just think at this point of his career, Wilder has a better shot at hitting that one-quitter hitter against Zhang than against Parker.
I think that Wilder is showing more age and wear and tear than Zhang. Both of them are up there in age. So the claims that I can levy against Wilder, I can certainly levy against Zhang as far as age, but it just seems like Wilder is showing that more than Zhang. So especially with those tiny basketball legs, those long, skinny, toothpick basketball legs that I possess as well. So I know them well. They wear down easier and maybe not as much as muscular legs will wear down during the fight, but I don't think his legs are there anymore. And I think Malik Scott is trying to turn him into a fighter that he can never be. He's not a mover. He's not a guy fighting off his back foot. I get tired of seeing it every single time, D-Style. Every single time this dude's about to fight, oh, we got the new and improved Wilder. Look at him. Look at him. He's doing like 360s in the ring and then punching targets. Like, what is he doing? And you got a bench pressing and doing squats and stuff. And, oh, you wait till you see this Wilder. Wait till you see the new and improved. Dude, he's 40. And he's a puncher. And in particular, he's a right-hand puncher. And that's who he is. And focus on that. Focus on that right there. Just focus on that. I don't need to see this guy refined because that's not who he is. And it's not going to help. It's not going to help.
He says you could dunk the ball. You know
Used to. But number one observation here, D-Style, is as I see this tournament play out in the scoring system, I understand why Eddie Hearn made Deontay Wilder the captain, right? And how ironic is that, right? That Deontay Wilder is the captain of Matchroom. That is hilarious to me. Every time I think about it, I just laugh. But the reason you're doing that is you want 4 points. And who has a greater chance of landing a knockout punch than Deontay Wilder? I just think it's a big risk because Wilder's up there and Zhang can fight and Zhang has shown that he has a chin. I have to check myself, though, because I did this when Josh Taylor fought Teofimo Lopez, and I said, these odds are too close. Josh Taylor's a better fighter at 140 than Teofimo Lopez. And what happens? Teofimo Lopez styles on Josh Taylor. I did the same thing with Oscar Valdez versus my guy Navarrete. I said, this is a terrible matchup for my guy Navarrete. He's going to walk into one of these big left hands that Valdez throws, just like Burchell did. And guess what? Guess what happened? Valdez loses and Navarrete styles on him. So I got to check myself, because that's the same reaction I had when this fight was announced and I saw the odds and I said, this is too close. Now, Zhang should be a bigger favorite against Deontay Wilder than this. But I do stick to my guns here. I think that Zhang is going to knock out Deontay Wilder. And I think this is going to be an ugly ending to possibly Deontay Wilder's career here.
100%.
And as I say that, I think the 2 points are going to go to Queensberry, and this will end up winning it for him, because although Matchroom, as far as my predictions, will win 3 out of 5 fights, I think the mistake is making Deontay Wilder, in this case, the captain. Because then you lose out on the possible double points somewhere else. But I understand why Eddie's doing it, and it could pay off for him. So under my scorecard, I would have Queensberry winning 6-3.
I think Matchroom's going to win it with that big knockout by Deontay Wilder.
Yeah,
the Bronze Bomber, right? That Alabama power. Remember, like, hey, I want to ask you this though. Now, I say that with not a lot of confidence.
Yeah,
I'm saying it with a whimper, but I don't know if you saw it. It's really quick. So Wilder did an interview, and he's like, they asked him, "Hey, do you think a lot of people feel whoever lands the first big shot?" You know, well, and I agree with B, by the way. Hergovich should probably be the captain.
I thought Hergovich should be the captain.
Yeah. So he's like, "Oh no, I don't think whoever lands the first big shot. I don't feel that way, because we don't know how hard Zhang hits. We know how hard I hit." And then he goes like this, and I don't know how to feel about it. He's like, "I'm gonna drop him, and I hope he twitches." And he does like an evil, like villain laugh. Like, I just feel like he's trying to show he's got that killer instinct back, but it's just not.
It ain't there anymore.
I don't know what it is, man. Like, so you think that's all cap? He's just trying to show people he's got the.
And I think he also does this thing, and he has an identity crisis. D-Style, he's got an identity crisis. The other thing he does is he tries to act like a chess master. He tries to act like this intelligent guy, and maybe he's intelligent. I don't know, but that's not who you are as a boxer. I think when they showed this training footage of him and Malik Scott, like he's doing these great moves, right? And look at the technique.
Oh, did you see when he's hitting the right hand and Malik Scott goes like this?
It's on fire.
And I was talking to Joe B by the phone, and he made a great point. He's like, Emmanuel Stewart used to hold the mitts for like Lennox Lewis. He wouldn't do that. Like, and he's like a little guy. Like,
yeah. And he's doing 360s and stuff in there, like he's pivoting and stuff, like he's doing. And it's like, man, just stop. This guy is a one hand knockout puncher, and it's been good enough for him, and it's still good enough to win him some big fights. That's what you should be focused on. I just think he has an identity crisis right now that Zhang does not have.
There was a content creator on here, bro. I'm not gonna say his name. I'm not gonna say people are gonna say the name. I'm not gonna say the name, but he made this big comeback. He's like, "Oh, Wilder's gonna destroy, Fury," and then he's like, he's watching the mitts work. He's like, "Oh yeah, just watch. When Fury ducks low, he's gonna get him with uppercuts, and he's gonna get him with the lead uppercut, and he's gonna mix it up with because I think he was believing what he was seeing in the training thing. Mm-hmm. None of that, like, oh yeah, bro, he's gonna get him with that Canelo uppercut, right? Like Wilder's gonna do that, and none of that happened, bro. Mm-hmm. It was still like I remember he threw a couple jabs to the body, and then he just or rights to the body, just abandoned it after round 1, and then what he do? He had his best round of the fight. I think it was round 4, by just being Wilder, and he hurt Fury, knocked him down twice.
That's it.
That's what he should have done from the very beginning.
Yep.
I don't know, but it is what it is.
That's right, and I do think it's obviously better for American boxing if Wilder wins. Why? Because the Jared Anderson fight. The rumors are he'll end up on this August card if he does win against Zhang and fight Jared Anderson, which I think that's a great fight because the storyline there that you had the former American heavyweight champion fighting the best American heavyweight prospect in quite some time. So I think it'd be a good story there. I'm not sold that Wilder can win this fight though. I think Zhang's going to break him down.
Let me ask you a hypothetical. If Wilder wins in devastating fashion, let's say he just knocks Zhang out, right? Isn't it just time to do Wilder AJ at that point?
I agree.
Just give us that fight.
I agree.
Like, I don't know if AJ will do it. I think AJ really wants that belt. Like, you know what I mean? So it's whatever. I get it, but I don't know. But that's it.
And you got that card in Wembley in September. Why not do that there? I mean, either way, I'm fine with either one of those fights. The good news for AJ is he's got options because people still want to see AJ versus Fury and people still want to see AJ versus Wilder. And I think that's going to stay the same no matter what happens.
Do Wilder fans accuse Zhang of cheating?
Oh yeah. There's no doubt. Yeah, there's no doubt. He had some Chinese voodoo.
He stacked his rap, so you know how those Japanese do, even though he's Chinese, but
he sprinkled some steroids in his rice.
I mean, I don't know what they're gonna say, but all I know is I just hope there's no. But here's what the problem is. A lot of them have gone on record and said that Usyk, that Fury can't cheat in Saudi Arabia. That's why he's looked human, right? That's why he hasn't looked so good.
That's true.
So they're gonna have a hard time explaining if Zhang wins, right? If Zhang, because you said you can't cheat in Saudi Arabia, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And by the way, Calix, not that you care nothing, but I don't know if you know this. Like, Fury cheated in the third fight too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's no doubt.
And we say, how did he cheat in the third fight? The response is, well, are you admitting he cheated in the first two fights? No. I mean, it's just like, I don't know what's going on here, right? But anyway, any final thoughts, Calix?
I love this card because a lot of even odds, although, and it's a bettor's paradise. These Saudi cards have been a bettor's paradise. It's just a lot of value to find in these cards, and we've seen some upsets. So the fact that I don't feel good, to be quite honest, with my prediction, now that I'm looking at it, and I got all the favorites winning. All five. I just don't think that's going to happen. But I think it's a safer play, and I don't know who the upset's going to be. But at least there's going to be at least one upset out of these five. I just can't pinpoint it.
Could be ball.
It could be. I just don't know if this card has. If Usyk versus Fury, which was a great fight at the top of the bill, good card, does 43,000 pay-per-view buys. This pay-per-view is not going to sell. It's just not. That's my concern, that even these good cards that come at good prices as far as betting odds and value, and they're just good, really good, solid cards. I don't know if it's going to sell without that big name on it. There's just no big American name on this card. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to sell. So that's still the stinker in boxing. That's still the gray cloud up there, is that we're still being charged too much for these cards.
That's right.
So, and that's it. But I do love the idea of this. I do love the point system. And I do want to see if Eddie Hearn's gamble of putting Deontay Wilder at captain instead of Hrgovic, which we both feel like Hrgovic should be the captain, if that ends up paying off for Eddie Hearn.
Do you think that feeling of being in the edge of your seat with a puncher like Wilder has gone away after that Parker fight?
Yeah.
Because every Wilder fight, even the third Fury fight, I was like, you know what I mean?
And that's what makes me question the legs. Is the legs the first thing to go, the power's the last, but the power needs to be set up by the legs to put them in position. And it's just,
shout out to Ed Woodson. This is HCP with the salute, Calix and D style, keeping it 100. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
Is he at work? Is Ed Woodson at work? Is he at work, you think?
I'm a hard-working man.
That's right.
Shout out to Smith, by the way. Russ didn't want to work the corner with Better Beef because he had worked with him and he lost the job. This is crazy.
It's a high value. It's a high value move, though. You got to respect him.
It is, and that's people always say, "Oh, in this business, you always do what's good for money," and well, that's a case where he gave up a lot of money.
Yeah,
like he lost money, like he didn't make any money because he didn't want to work that corner. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? If you were like a trainer in boxing, right, and you had worked with a fighter before, would you still train against them?
I'm the guy who says that brothers should fight brothers.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm the guy who says best friends should fight each other. So to me, business comes before personal.
Damn.
So
you're not honorable like Russ Anber. Like, you know what I mean?
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? Like Alex is that guy. Like I heard, like his kid didn't hit the like button for the show, right? So you know what he did? He took him to the to go play basketball. He just started he didn't let him win anymore. All of a sudden, he just started fucking dunking on him. Slapping the bottom of his hand. Why didn't you like HCP? Huh? I told you. Like it is.
My son doesn't know what it's like to win in the driveway when I'm on the court.
Like he doesn't know that feeling. Like, he doesn't
know. He doesn't
know. He's gonna get older one day, right? And then like, when he dunks on it, it's gonna be your hand. It's gonna be his hand. He's just gonna like dunk it on you.
He's gonna put his balls in my face,
and he's gonna like really rub it in a little bit.
Oh, there's no doubt. The boomerang's coming, but it's gonna take a while.
It'll take a while, or you could just retire and say, "I don't play basketball no more."
I'm gonna pull Andre Ward. I'm out.
I'm out. I'm good. You know what I mean? And they criticize him all the time about shit you did. Anyway, with that said, guys, we appreciate everybody that tuned in. This is D Style, and we're out of here. Peace.